Today's guest is Karen Cappello, and she's going to help us learn and turn our coaching skills into revenue. Let's get to it. Have you ever been bored by a speaker? Why? Would you be happy being a boring speaker? Of course not. Well, I have been bored by speakers for decades, and I decided to change the world. Change the world. I created Storytizing, my signature training that will make you interesting, make you energized, make you more successful. It will have people wanting you to talk to them and to their organizations. It will get you booked on more stages. And isn't that what you really want? Storytizing. You need the training. I am the trainer. Hey, reach out to me, stevesapatoseminars.com. Hi, I'm Steve Sapato, and you're watching the Speaker Talks podcast, as well as Know, Like, and Trust for the success you're looking for. And I think what's going to be great is I've got Karen Cappello on here. And Karen, I hope I pronounced your last name right, but it's Karen Cappello, and she is going to teach coaches, teach all of us actually, but coaches how to make more money. And isn't that what we all want? More money, right? Hey, Karen, are you there?
I am here, Steve. Yes, we all want more money.
More money, yeah. So tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into how you create this for people.
Well, I'm a master certified coach, which means I've been at this a while. You know how they say the PhD is a matter of endurance. Well, the master certified coach is kind of the same. I've been doing this for many years. And when I started out, I came from the investment advising field. A lot of coaches come from leadership positions, get into their own business, and then don't know really how to make a business out of it. So I was working like 60 to 70 hours a week, and I wanted something much different. So when I became a coach, I was determined not to recreate all that hard work. And I found a formula that helps coaches have success with ease and joy rather than hard work and hustle.
You know, I think that's a lot of times, I don't care what, I suffer from type 2 diabetes. And so I see these posts online. They say, hey, we've got the cure. Hey, we've got this. Hey, we've got that. And there's one guy out there, and I every once in a while I jump on his stuff, and it says in the next like 3 minutes, I'll show you how you can really reduce, all your diabetes things. And then he goes on and on and on. It's like, wait a minute, either you can help me fix this or you can't. They beat around the bush a lot, don't they? The people who I say want to sell you a pill at the end of all this. And that's what, when we talk, I help people become great speakers. I use a system called Storytizing. You just mentioned you had a system. And when we have that system, we want to get to that system. We don't want to sell them a magic pill at the end. We want to help them grow and become. Isn't that right, Karen?
Right now, we're gonna give you tips immediately to help with this.
That's great. So when you say you got into this, a while ago, the length of time doesn't matter, but it's the knowledge that matters. And you said, like you said, PhDs. A lot of PhDs, of course, go on to teach at college, and then they don't teach, right? They become the PhD who writes a book while they've got students who come in and teach the classes. And I'm just like, I don't think I get that, right? Because first of all, I was a college teacher myself, and you have to have special skills to be a great college teacher, when, especially in the junior college level, where anybody with a master's degree can teach any topic at all. And I had to pick up a lot of different classes over a course. I was only there for about 7 years. But because about a few weeks in, when these people who were engineers, but they had a master's degree, wanted to teach like a speech course, and suddenly they were like, they don't have a clue how to handle students. They didn't have a clue how to teach a speech course. And so they would be forced out because the students would complain so badly, and they would be forced out of that. And that's the one thing that we don't do. You and I have experience, and that experience is what's going to help all of your students and all the people on this podcast become smarter, better, and actually make more money, right?
Totally. And Steve, you remind me of a story, because I'm kind of like you. I was a speech major in college, and we would have the professor would be at the back of the room. We'd be at the front of the room giving our talk, and all of my friends would be in the front row, and they'd be making all these faces while I was trying to give my speech, And you have to learn to just go with it and do it. So what you're doing is really important for everyone, I know.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that is I retired about 2 years ago, I guess it's been now. And I'm just back out of retirement because I really love doing what I was doing so much. But my wife gave me the opportunity. She said, "Look, you don't have to do this anymore." I went, "Oh, good." And then I did stuff and I tried to find, other things that I would fill my time, and nothing was as fulfilling. But like yesterday, we're in a retirement community, and this one lady asked me, she said she was going to do a skit on stage, and she said, "Would you be so kind as to help me up the stairs and down the stairs when it's time for her to go?" Because she was wearing really large high heels as part of her skit, right?
Mhm.
And we're all in our 70s, so it was, you understood. And what it ended up being was she brought me up on stage while she did her 25-minute sketch. I know you went. I went, Janet, that's a long time for me to be on stage. She goes, "Oh, it'll be great." And what I found, a lot of people came up to me afterwards. They said, "You helped really make that performance." And I went, "Yeah." And they went, "It was your facial expression." So when you said all those people were in the front row making faces at you, you know, I looked at my wife when I was all done and I said, "So in teaching people over these last 30 years how to be great presenters, one of the things we teach, of course, is facial expressions, how to give people permission, how to allow people to respond. And that can be done so nicely." So what I really want you to do is, first of all, I'm going to ask you to give us your information. How, like, you have a website, do you have a book, do you have a way for them to contact you? And then I want you to share your topic, which is how to help these coaches make a stream of revenue. That's what we're here for.
Perfect. Well, my website is KarenCappello.com, two P's and two L's, but I do have the misspelling, one P and two L's, the common misspelling. So that's a little tip for anybody who has a website. And I'm everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. You can find me just about anywhere you'd like.
And I'm going to repeat that because this will be out on just a podcast, which is not, you won't have the screen. So it's Karen, Karen, just like it should be, Cappello, Cappello, right? .com, is it?
.com.
Okay,
Mhm.
so if you took the time to write that down, that's great. But we want you to have that information because you're going to want to reach out to her. So all yours, Karen.
Well, here's the thing, Steve. So coaches are trained to listen, to ask questions, to do all kinds of beautiful things with communication. And we have 10 competencies, and we go through tons of education. In fact, it's interesting. My coaching certification, I spent more time and money for that than I did my master's degree.
Oh, wow.
Most people call themselves coaches and they just think you just kind of hang up a shingle and coach. But we have been trained well. So many coaches see business development and sales conversations on one hand and coach training on the other. And they don't realize that their coaching skills are actually their best talent for enrolling clients. So
Yeah,
my idea is that I put out there is turn your coaching skills into coaching revenue. It's not two different things. It's the same thing. And so
absolutely.
I train coaches to, I have a process, and my book actually, my latest book is called Coach Momentum, and it is on Amazon if anybody wants to find that on Kindle. And you can get, I think you can get a paperback too, Coach Momentum. But what we look at is the 4 C's. So first of all, you have to have confidence, and that is kind of that inner game, that mindset stuff and all of that. Second is you have to have context for your business, which sometimes they call it a niche, but a niche seems like a crazy word for coaches. They just run away from it. So I say just put your offer in context. Make sure that if you're going to help somebody do something, that you can show a return on investment for that. That you're not just pulling pricing out of the air and making up something, but that it's in context with a problem someone has and a solution that they're looking for. And then the third C is conversations, which we're talking about here, where you have market research conversations is where I like to start. Because I don't know, Steve, if you've ever been introduced to a coach and they're really excited about coaching, they say, Steve, why don't we see if coaching is a fit for you? And you're like, oh, nobody wants to know that. It's, I used to be an insurance agent as part of estate planning. And when I was on an airplane and I didn't want to talk to anybody, and they'd say, what do you do? And I say, I sell insurance. And immediately they would not even talk to me. It's kind of like that with coaching. If you say, hey, do you want to see if coaching is going to work for you? People run the other way.
Yeah.
But we use market research conversations to start a conversation. We say, can you help me with my business? Can you give me some feedback on my offer, on the context my offer's in, on whatever? So you might ask a question like, what's your biggest challenge as a leader? What would you really like to have happen? What is going on for you that you're not finding time to address, that you may need some help with? Putting all that together into a conversation, then you can tell if it's appropriate to say to somebody, look, maybe I can help you, and here's how. But everything is in that conversation, listening deeply to them, to what they really want. And then our fourth C is consistency. And this is my hardest one. I like a lot of variety, but consistency, doing things day by day, week by week, month by month, showing up. You talked about the know, like, and trust factor earlier. And I like to switch that around. Not only do people need to know that that they can know, like, and trust you, but what about them knowing that you know, like, and trust them? You know their problem, you like what they're up to, and you trust that they can get to their result using your help.
That's really huge because, and I watch all these other coaches and other businesses where they say, I don't always make guarantees, right? And what they mean is they can't guarantee the other person's performance will be exactly what will get them the success that they're looking for. Isn't that what it is? So when you say know, like, and trust them, we have to trust that you're going to take the stuff that we have and implement it. I can't tell you how many times I've had people on my Speaker Talk stage, which I'm doing every 6 months now, but it gives people, I put speakers out on a stage so they can get a speaker reel doing their best 15 minutes so they can get that. You know how that works. And I remember it was 3 years ago, just as COVID was hitting, that I had 12 people coming on stage. And I said, hey, you have to come looking and dressing and doing this. And I bet you 5 of my 12 came up in just casual outfits. And I mean, stuff that you go, well, you would never wear that to speak in front of people. And so it was really disappointing to me that, and I learned right then, you have to tell them, women, you have to wear a business suit or a dress. Men, you have to wear a business suit or sport coats and slacks. I mean, I'm just stunned that you trust the people will know what they have to do, but they don't always fulfill it, right?
That's why they need you, Steve.
Yeah.
And we do videos we teach videos because a lot of our coaching is online. We have our coaches on LinkedIn, they're thought leaders. And I say, wear a jacket or wear something that looks like, don't wear a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Put, wherever, if you're in your video, put your head near the top, like just simple things. If your background, if you're talking to leaders, you don't want your background to be, the San Diego Zoo, for instance. You want like a conference room or a bookshelf or something like that. And it seems almost, so obvious. But sometimes people really need help in just those very obvious things, and it makes a huge difference.
And that's I've got a virtual background here. And it's funny because I'm one of those guys who say, I don't care what kind of background you've got, it doesn't affect me, but I know that it affects others. So like we bought this home about a year ago now, a year and a half. And it's in a retirement community. It's unusual, but there's a 4-car garage attached to this place. And so so I closed off half of it and made half my workout room. So I've got a 10 by 20 foot space over here with all my equipment. And this half is my office. But if I were to take my Zoom screen off, you would see my knife collection and my coffee pot. Because it's a converted garage. I mean, that's what it is. And it's really funny that you have to tell people that we have certain things. I mean, I've been on Zoom meetings. I got a really stupid, like 3-minute video emphasizing how people do such stupid things like eating while they're on a Zoom,
Mhm.
having their pet sit on their lap while they're in a Zoom. And you're like, there's nothing, you're on a networking group trying to get people to buy your services, right? So, coaches, and that's your expertise, teaching coaches like me how to make more money. And so, what's one of the secrets that we should start learning?
Okay, so there is to each interaction that you have with people, there is a being part and a doing part. And we're all focused on the doing. What actions can I take? What can I do? And I kind of gave you a little hint earlier. Market research conversations are a big hit because if you ask someone to help you with something, the chances of them getting into a meeting with you are high. If you ask them to find out if they want to coach with you, the chances are very low. So, what you want to do on the action side is ask people for feedback. You know, years ago, I went to Prague for the coaching conference, and I had two different suitcases that I was thinking of buying. I put them on Facebook. Steve, I got over 300 comments. So I said, which one of these should I take? Right? I'm asking for help. Other posts I make, I spend so much time writing this beautiful content, this great, inspiring stuff. I don't get 300 comments on
Oh,
that.
no.
So the thing is, what you want to do is you want to ask people for their feedback. People love giving their opinion. And when they get in, then you can find out. You can get their feedback. You can get wording for your website. You can get all kinds of things, but you can also possibly get a client if they are the right person. So getting into these conversations, market research is the way to go. That's kind of the action. There's this other part, who you're being. And I know, Steve, you probably work with your clients on this. Something happened to my screen here on presence. So it's not only what you're doing, it's not only your action, it's also your presence. So the presence part, I have something I call essence energy. And your essence energy is the energy you feel when you are most alive.
No.
Everybody's got a different kind of energy. Like my essence energy, I call it tender exuberance. So I'm actually feeling it right now. And I come across that way. I have another friend, her essence energy is more of a serene heart. She's very quiet and calm. She has that presence. So when you know what your essence energy is, what that energy is, that you really feel you're at your best, you deliberately get into that energy prior to any conversations, prior to anything you do, including, and I'll go as far as writing emails or sending messages, because everything carries an energy with it. So getting into your essence energy and staying there. So if you find yourself, for instance, coaches are in a sales conversation, they want to work with somebody, and the person is maybe pushing back a little bit or giving some objections. If you stay in your essence energy and use your coaching skills, things can shift. For instance, we had a coach this morning who was asking a question. She was in a discovery session, a strategy session with a prospect. And the person, it was a gentleman, and he said, you're asking too many questions. That's what he said to her. And it put her off, because she wanted to know about him. She felt that it was appropriate to ask questions. And I said, well, what if you said to him, I want to serve you. What could I be doing right now? Instead of asking these questions that could really support you. Now that is more of a coaching approach. That's more of listening to the client. But if you're in this, I want to sell this person into coaching, and it feels really, you feel really strongly about it, then your essence energy diminishes. You can't really come up with your coaching questions. Your presence has kind of gone out the window. And by the way, it happens to all of us here and there in sales meetings. It happens to me even to this day sometimes. We're human beings. But for the most part, if you can stay in your essence energy, if you can keep asking questions, get feedback. Now, here's the other thing about making money. So that's, you could get a client like that, right? Because you're working with somebody. But the other thing is, if you ask 10 or 12 of your ideal clients, what's your biggest challenge? You're going to find patterns in the way they describe it. So I'm past the challenge. I'm helping other people that are on the other side of transformation. So my wording isn't really going to resonate with them as well. We want their wording. So if I talk to 10 people and 7 of them say the same phrase, that's a phrase I should put in my marketing, because that will draw in the right people. And I remember years ago, I did a bunch of market research conversations, and I was filling a program. And of the people in the program, I used the wording of the people that I interviewed. And then all those people did not sign up. In fact, only 20% of those people signed up. Other people signed up, 80% of people that I never interviewed, but they resonated with the wording.
That's you've had a couple things there, and I keep wanting to jump in, but
Jump
this
right
is
in.
your time, so I'm trying not to jump in too much. But you said the same phrase, and one of the problems you were aware that they were saying the same phrase. Most coaches I know aren't paying enough attention to what the people are saying because, like you say, they're in this different place, and it's amazing to me how I got a book that I'm writing right now. It's called "Shut Up." Um, and succeed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because and it's about listening, but it's more about having that conversation with people where you're paying attention, and that's what's important. So you also said something else. So using the same phrase, you have to be aware of what people are saying to you, and sometimes getting a transcription. So they've got those new devices that you can wear or you can put here that will transcribe all of this. And when you go through that, you can actually do a search on phrases that are reused, same words type thing reused. And that can really change a person's, like as a coach, it can change how people are seeing me, what they say to me. The other part was the resonance when you said you were talking about your energy, versus your other friend's energy. Yours is this way and theirs is that way. Yours is the essence energy, and hers was something else. And I tried so hard early on. Now, this is going back 30 years, but I wanted to sign everybody up. That was my job. And what I found was if I ended up signing up some of these people, like that other lady you talked about, their energy was so down. It's like so different from mine that I couldn't relate. I really couldn't help them because I want to do energy. I want to do excitement. You get out there and you pump people up. And they were like, no, I'm doing, this and I want to do that. And that's even getting them on a podcast, like this. When you get them on a podcast, if they don't have the same energy, it makes a tough 30 minutes to get them because to me, I had somebody on a while ago and so boring. Their speech patterns were so boring. I went, oh my gosh, right? And I don't have to spend too much time editing now because I get the right people on like yourself. But I must have spent it for a 30-minute podcast, about 2 hours editing out 2-second, 2.5-second pauses in between what they were saying. And, it is phenomenal when we get the right energy involved that you can help coach people. And that's what you're looking for when you help coach people, right?
It is. And it's funny, years ago when I was a brand new coach, I applied for a job at International Coach Academy, and Bronwyn Bowery Ireland was the CEO. And I was talking to her on a bridge line. We didn't even have Zoom. We were just on these telephone lines. And she hired me sight unseen. She was in Australia. I was here in Tucson, Arizona. And I was with International Coach Academy for like 7 years. And I kept saying to her, in 1 week, she called me and said, we'd like you to be the foundation coach coordinator, and I'm going to pay you this. And I kept saying to her, how did you know? How did you know? We didn't even, see each other. And I'll never forget this. We were in a conference in St. Louis, and we were at a bar, and she was sitting next to me, and she said, I figured it out. And I said, tell me. She said, you keep asking me, how did you know? And she said, here's what happened. When I was on the call with you, my energy started rising. I started getting more energy. I started feeling really good. And she said, every other call I was on, my energy drained. She said, so I could tell by the energy that you were going to be good. And she was right. I moved all the way up to chief learning officer of ICA. We had a really great time together. And actually, when she left the organization, I left about 6 months later because I really resonated so much with her. So this is another thing about Essence Energy and coaching. Coaches, when you're in a conversation and you feel your essence energy getting stronger with this client, as you were talking about, Steve, then this is going to be a good match. If you're in a situation where your energy starts feeling drained in the discovery session, even though you want that client, even though you want to make your financial goals for that month, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Because what happens is that client is going to drain your energy for the months you're coaching them. They probably will not get to their goal. And then it's gonna mess with your own confidence. And really, it's all about choosing the right fit. And those people are going to do great with you.
Yeah, that's it. And that's the name of the game. Actually, I think I must have talked too much because we're getting real close to the end of the podcast already, and I just get my feet wet in this whole thing because I would like to keep it under 30 minutes. So maybe we'll have to get back together and talk about it again if that's
Okay,
something.
for sure.
But then give everybody your information again so they can go to your website so they can actually take a deeper look at what you do.
Oh, thank you. KarenCappello.com, KarenCappello.com, or come on to LinkedIn, link with me and mention this podcast. Say, I heard you with Steve, and then because I don't connect with everyone. I'm a little picky about who I connect with, but I definitely connect with anyone who was listening here.
Yeah, if you look at my LinkedIn stuff, I'm constantly screaming at people, so to speak. But you get so many messages where the people go, "Hey, I looked at your profile, and your profile is wonderful," and then they go into their long, "Hey, maybe you could use my services," and you're like, "No, no," and I try and write back. I said, "Is this working for you, or is this a robot? What are we doing here?" Because it's like I can't imagine them getting the responses they're looking for. So I know there's ways to get around LinkedIn, and people send out 2,000 messages every month because they got to get around the LinkedIn whatever that is, and I just can't imagine them getting 2% back with the way they attack, and that's not what your coaching should be. Your coaching should be a conversation where you find out if you can help those people, because even some of the people I think I can help don't resonate with me. And I think that's the best thing Karen said here today was you got to find the people who resonate with you. 1 or 2 clients a month that resonate with you will keep you happier than 10 clients that just make you nuts.
Now, Steve, do I have time to tell one more quick story?
Yep.
So I worked with a woman a few years ago. Her name is Rachel. And she was working this was right at the pandemic. She was working at the college and everything went down, and she wanted to have her own coaching business. So we started working with her to get her business going. And in 1 year, she made $1 million in her first year of coaching. And Steve, she was 80 years old.
Oh, no kidding.
Very amazing, classy person. And here's what she said. Here's what she did. She would send out 5 messages every day on LinkedIn saying to people, "How are you?" Seriously. And so that's 100 messages a month. And some of them would not even respond, but some of them would come back and go, "How are you?" They would get onto calls. She would do the market research conversations with them and get hired. So I want to say to everyone listening, these market research conversations, using your coaching skills to gain coaching revenue, it works. And Rachel will say to you, if I can do this at age 80, you can do this too.
Oh man. Yeah, that's astounding. And you see the Colonel Sanders things where he was 61 when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken. The secret is you have to find out what works for you. Karen can help you find the niche, right? You didn't call it a niche. I forget what you called it, but something else. But the thing that works for you, and she is an expert at helping you find what will work for you. And it's important that you reach out to her. And so go to her website, KarenCappello.com. She already spelled it out for you, so we're not going to bore you with that again. But you need to reach out. The only way you're going to get better as a coach, the only way you're going to make more money as a coach is to hire the right coach for you. And they'll give you tidbits. I remember when I first started, Karen, I would give everybody all my information and then they wouldn't hire me. I'm like, well, I think I said too much, right? And so it's critical that you get just enough information so you know if she can help you. We're not saying we can help everybody. That's not what we do. But find out from her and let her share with you whether she could be the right match for you to make a lot of money. What if you could make $1 million next year because you connected with Karen, right?
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, so that's the key. So I'm Steve Sapato. You can reach me at steve@stevesapato.com. You already know how to reach Karen. If there's anything you have questions on, please reach out. And of course, subscribe to the podcast and let us know what you need and how we can help. And Karen, I really do want to have you back on so we can talk more about what you do and how you do it for the people that are important to us. Thanks a lot for being here. I'm Steve Sapato. While you are familiar with storytelling, there's a new approach called storytizing that takes it to the next level. What sets me apart is my ability to teach you how to energize every talk, how to engage every audience, how to involve them, get them interested, asking questions, leaning forward and wanting more from you. I get you the accolades and results you want from every presentation you give. What you get from storytizing is more confidence, more visibility, more opportunities. Imagine you're a salesperson wanting to make $100,000 a year, but suddenly you're making $500,000 a year because you learned one new technique, storytizing, the ultimate training for your success.
Yeah.